Hi, I'm Colleen Taylor, backstage with Vinod Khosla at Disrupt San Francisco, who just came off stage speaking with Michael Arrington. How did it go out there? You got a lot of great responses from the crowd.
Well, I had fun. So the crowd has to tell me. One of the fun things I find now is you can actually get honest feedback on Twitter.
It's true.
And so looking at my Twitter stream looks pretty good. People enjoy it, how much they retweet it. You get really honest feedback and what matters to people, because they only retweet this pieces they really synced with or resonated with. So that's really valuable. And
Right,
nice.
It's different because you don't get it when you're on stage, because most people are just looking at their laptops, and it's also dark out there, so you can't tell.
Yeah, I can't tell.
But I wanted to ask you, you mentioned on stage, and Arrington as well said that you're really known for your hiring, your obsessive sort of focus on hiring and how important hiring is, and this was a theme throughout your discussion. And you said something, if you know anybody great, send them my resume. How do you look at a resume? What are the first things you look at? Is it the school? Is it prior jobs?
You know, every situation is different. I've learned, for example, if there's a high school dropout who's done a lot, it tells me that person is way better than a Stanford PhD who's done a similar amount, because he's driven much further to get there. So you learn all sorts of odd ways to characterize people. I actually wrote an article about it. There's a 15 or 20 page document on how you interview somebody and how you read a resume on our website, Khosla Ventures.
Yeah.
As a resource for all entrepreneurs. You know, if you're a young entrepreneur, just graduated from Stanford with your bachelor's and you're hiring a VP of marketing, you don't have a clue what a VP of marketing is. So what do? You hire what you think is a VP of marketing, but you don't know. And so for those kinds of people, I wrote this article, like, how do you determine what's a good VP of marketing?
Right.
And these are tricks over time you learn, and hopefully people can use our website to do that. You know, we don't restrict it just to our entrepreneurs. I have a website that's focused on helping entrepreneurs.
I think it's cool that you said you're not so focused on the degrees or the schooling, because you yourself have such a robust academic pedigree. You have degrees from Carnegie Mellon, IIT India, Stanford, of course. Do you think if you were starting out today, if you were just 18 right now, do you think that you would go through that system again, or right now with the internet and everything, do you think that?
You know, it's hard to put yourself. I think schooling really helped me. It helped me in an unusual way. I was an electrical engineer in my bachelor's. My master's was in biomedical engineering, and then my second master's was at Stanford in MBA. I learned that diversity lets you look across areas, and that really helped me. I didn't plan it that way. I wasn't smart enough to figure that out, but it happened, and I got lucky. So my one advice to people doing undergraduate degrees or graduate degrees is go for multiple disciplines. Just going through this with my son, he's doing computer science at Stanford, and said also do neuroscience. Something really different. Whether he'll do it or not, I don't know, but I like people who develop expertise and interests in many, many different areas, because almost all interesting things happen across areas at the fringes of areas.
Now, some of the things you were talking about on stage, like this medical app that you would like to see made and you haven't quite seen it done quite well yet, you mentioned how beneficial it could be for the millions of people in India who have never seen a doctor ever. Just a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, new jobs report came out, and also income report, demographics in the United States alone, and it said, I think that the gap between the rich and the poor now is wider than it's ever been, or at near a record high. Do you think that this holds back how quickly technology develops? I mean, still we're here in San Francisco at the high end that things are moving quickly, but.
No, you know, technology is developing everywhere.
Yeah.
So, you know, no matter where you are, technology moves forward, and because of technology you can produce more and your GDP goes up, and then there's a question of you get fair sharing of that GDP. Um, I'll give you an example. Foxconn, which makes the iPhone 4, presumably will make the iPhone 5, just said that they were putting in 1 million robots. 1 million robots. Each robot will replace 2 people.
Wow.
Right? So that's bad for jobs for those people. It is good for the fact that iPhone will cost less, and so more people will be able to afford an iPhone or an Android phone. It always has 2 sides. In general, as society progresses, the need for knowledge in jobs keeps going up and up and up. You know, the guys who can design a driverless car, their job isn't going away.
Right.
But if you're just a lettuce picker, you worry about your job. And so I think it's important that we develop these skills. One of my key areas of interest is to make education free. So my wife works on CK12, which is a nonprofit. I definitely would like to see high school education be free and online and available to everybody. There's a lot of kids in many parts of the world that can't get an education because they got to work in the field.
Right.
Why do you think we don't have high school in the afternoon in the US? It originally came from a system where people had to go do work in the afternoon. So kids were needed in the fields, so they didn't have high school then. I think today we don't worry about it, but there are parts of the world where we still have to worry about these things. And so it's important that we realize that we offer it. There's no question that you can offer a computer science degree for somebody on their own time while they're working another job and practically for free.
Yeah.
There are people starting to teach computer programming for free.
It's true.
And so those are all good things, and there's always tension.
And the last question I want to ask, I know you're on the Bloom Center for up at Berkeley, or you're on the trustee board there, which focuses completely on these things you're talking on developing areas of the world, developing economies. Is there one region globally that right now you think is the most exciting or is really growing the best?
No, look, there's lots of regions growing. There's a lot of innovation happening. In fact, we have another fund, a Khosla Ventures fund called the Impact Fund, that is only doing products and services for the bottom 3 billion people on the planet.
Cool.
So we only invest in companies that are going after the bottom 3 billion, while everybody else wants to go after the top 3 billion because they have most of the money. So we have a separate fund just to do that.
That's cool.
We have this CK12 Foundation, which is just going after education for free. The Blum Center is focused on poverty. Those are all important things. I hope I have enough time to work on both sides.
Yeah.
The fund technology stuff out of our main funds as well as the impact stuff.